this lifetime. And what I'm going to do is use Jim Carrey as the example. His date of birth is 1/17/1962. And again, all you do is break it down to one digit. 1 + 1 + 7 + 1 + 9 + 6 + 2 is 27. 2 + 7 is 9. So Jim Carrey is a 9 life path. And now I'll define each number if you were a life path 1 through 9. If you are life path 1, here's what's going to make you happy. That you're number one at what you do. That you are respected. That people look up to. It's someone who's competitive. I find a lot of people in Hollywood do well that are ones. Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, Nicolas Cage, Tobey Maguire. A lot of people who do well in Hollywood are 1 life paths because of that competitive streak. The number 2, peacemaker, mediator, not looking for trouble. Basically, they're really good at social working, or if their friends are in trouble, they want to make it good again. The downside of it too is when they feel pushed against the wall, they will get angry. But when it's over, they feel worse than the person that got them upset. Like they feel bad. They don't. I'm a lover, not a fighter. That's the number 2. Number 3 is communication. Here to motivate and uplift others, but also natural comedian. Like all our top comedians have 3s in their chart. Jim Carrey, of course, does, but Bill Cosby, Robin Williams, Rosie O'Donnell. 3 is sense of humor and a need to express yourself. They also are natural counselors. 3s always give advice, whether you want it or not. If you're in trouble, a 3 wants to help, and they will communicate what's up. They also make good writers and performers. Number 4 is the next life path number. 4s seek knowledge. They really have a strong need to know. Oprah Winfrey is a great example. This is someone who not only does she learn something, but she's constantly teaching all of us. 4s cannot handle a liar. If someone lies to them, they will confront. They will not put up with it. If they're in a relationship and they've been deceived, if it happens behind their back, they're unforgiving. It's like they just have to let that person go.
5.
The number 5. 5, which we talk about plenty in this DVD. 5 is never a dull moment. Freedom, fun, adventure. They have to watch out through escaping, drugs, alcohol, geography, work, restless energy, party throwers. I think of them as major givers. Like when it comes to the any kind of party you go to, you could run numbers in the room. You're going to find the 5s are the ones who stay till the end of the night and maybe had one drink too many or have lots to say, but they love to celebrate life. And they're really good at giving, not as comfortable as receiving, because sometimes I wonder where you're coming from. And I call the 5 a natural detective. They dig for the truth, and they are, like when they travel and go look at the world, that's a good thing for them. And they shouldn't marry early because they often make the mistake, and they will not stay where they feel stuck. It's like claustrophobia. It's better that they wait before they say adieu unless they pick a natural match. The number 6. 6 is the most magnetic number. It's a number we're drawn to. If it's a man, he needs to be the king of the castle. My joke is a good day for a 6 is if we got on our knees and said we're not worthy. They'd let us get back up, but they really do need you to respect what they bring to the table. They are responsible. The positive side, they're good at damage control. You know, George Bush and Rudy Giuliani come to mind because when 9/11 happened, certainly those guys looked great because they were the men who showed up on the horses saying we can fix this. A 6 needs to learn to overcome. They have to learn to say it's going good and I deserve it because they're not used to smooth sailing. The number 7. 7 is the number that needs to find faith. They're the ones that say, who am I? What am I? Why am I here? They are the observers of life, and sometimes they feel like they don't belong. That, by the way, is what makes them great writers, because they're wonderful observers. They also can be directors for the same reason. They like to see what's going on. But I always make the joke that if a spaceship showed up, they'd jump out and say, I'm going. I knew I didn't belong here. I mean, they'd be the first to get on that spaceship. So that's the number 7. 8s are here to master money. They have to find a way to feel financially stable. And they also have to learn to take advice. 8s have a hard time taking advice from other people. They feel like it must be their decision. So that's something they have to overcome. And they are drawn to quality. So it's not even about, you know, the line, he who dies with the most toys wins. That's the 8. And 8s have to have a lovely relationship with money. In other words, I meet one of 2 types. They're either filthy rich and the money's in the bank and they won't spend it, or money slips right through the fingers and they have nothing. So they've got to find a better relationship to have that financial security. And for those who have issues with money as an 8, they need to look at money as, if I had a lot of money, I could give it to charity if you want to. But the ones who put money down are miserable 8 life paths. So that's something they must overcome. The number 9. 9 is the highest number in numerology. It is the natural humanitarian. They do care about people. They can't help but worry about the world and where we're headed. And 9s must overcome their own scars. I have found statistically a lot of kids with the broken marriage, like the family that fell apart, their parents got divorced early on, or they were adopted, or they felt abandoned. Those are common issues with the number 9. The flip side of that is that the 9 feels incredibly responsible for their family, and they have to learn to have better boundaries, to not have people take advantage. Like, they would never say they need help. You know, the analogy would be they're in the water and they're drowning, but their head's bobbing up and down, and people are like, oh, he's having fun. It's like, no, he's drowning. So a 9 must communicate when they need help. So now you know your life path numbers 1 through 9. Well, what you need to understand is that we all fall into a category of 3 numbers, and I call it the natural match. Natural match is like heaven on earth. It's someone who understands you because they're already similar to who you are. As a matter of fact, even though you might be a 1 life path or a 5 or 7, you're going to find that there are traits. Like as a 1 life path, you're going to find some traits in the 5 and the 7 that are like you too, because it's a natural match. So for starters, 1, 5, 7 are the mind numbers. They're very cerebral. They never stop thinking. I always say these are idea people. It's common for them to be producers, directors, people behind the scenes, because they have lots of ideas, and they should work somehow where they're in charge of what they do, because they're not good under somebody else. They don't need people bossing them around. The 7 has a loner quality, so they need to kind of be in their own thing. Like, I would honestly say if I was the boss of a 1, a 5, or 7, I would leave them to their own devices and say, I trust you're going to do a good job, and that's when they will give me excellence. If I'm too critical or watch them too much, they rebel. 1, 5, 7. 2, 4, 8. These are business-minded numbers. So you have 4 and 8 are even, I'd say they're tougher, like Donald Trump, Martha Stewart. These are like shrewd business people. Bill Gates is a 4. Donald Trump's a 4. Martha Stewart's an 8. They work hard, but they're also workaholics. Like, it's almost like they can't make enough money. They can't do enough. That's, you might even say, the downside of that number. But you know what their biggest fear is? Financial security. They're just afraid that, what if I don't have enough, or what if I lose everything I have? So that's something they must overcome.
Tell them about it, Martha.
Is a little more sensitive. Like, they have to do business, but with a heart. So in other words, they're not just going to go for a job for the cold hard cash. Their heart is involved. So it's got to be something they really love doing. But yes, financial security is what the 2, 4, and 8 must master in this lifetime. 3, 6, 9. These are creative-minded numbers. 3 is communication, natural comedian. 6 is magnetic. We're drawn to them. They should be in charge of what they do. And 9 is the humanitarian. So creative-minded is 3, 6, 9. Business-minded is 2, 4, 8. Mind numbers, as in cerebral, 1, 5, 7, the idea people. Remember, there are 6 numbers that make up your chart, so you may find you have a piece of this in you. Like, yes, your life path might be a 3, but maybe you have a 1 in your soul. You have a 2 personality. See, that's why you want to study the numbers 1 through 9 to get the full picture of who you are. And what determines whether it matters or not is the placement of the number in your chart.